Hey guys, in today's video, I want to discuss the shocking exit from Carlos Alcaraz at the Paris Masters. But before I get into his loss against Norrie, I first want to congratulate João Fonseca on his impressive victory against Denis Shapovalov because, especially for young players, it is so hard to produce a good result immediately after having the biggest success of your career. There has been so many examples where young players win a big title and they go on a losing streak. But Fonseca, after losing the first set against Shapovalov, who's really tough to beat indoors, won this match in a very tough 3 sets after beating Shapovalov the week before in Basel. Super impressive. And interestingly, Fonseca is on the top half of the draw among many other great players. For example, Bublik is up there as well. We have to consider Norrie. The way he's been playing this season, he's so dangerous, but I'll discuss him in more detail very shortly. And of course, the cousins are playing each other again after meeting in the Shanghai final. So that top half is going to be super interesting. And let's see how Sinner performs on these extremely slow courts in Paris that are not high bouncing. They actually happen to be low bouncing, which is a very interesting scenario. The one comparison that I have are clay courts in Europe very early during the clay court season. The old Master Series tournaments in Hamburg was like that, wet, muddy. So those type of clay courts play slow, but the ball doesn't bounce very high. And this is where Roger Federer took out Rafael Nadal 1 year and actually broke his 81 match winning streak on clay. So this type of surface might actually favor Sinner, even though it's slow, and I think it's a big myth that Jannik Sinner cannot play on slow surfaces. Okay, this guy has been unbelievably consistent, 4 Grand Slam finals in a row, and it's a myth that Carlos Alcaraz cannot play on fast surfaces. I don't see any reason why Carlitos shouldn't be very successful on a fast surface, but as I've been covering Carlos throughout this year, I started calling him the new Alcaraz. A lot of people have wrote me and they're saying this is the old Alcaraz, isn't it? So I wouldn't say this is the old Alcaraz because new Alcaraz made 9 finals in a row, which is absolutely insane. He won 7 of them. The only 2 finals he lost was the Barcelona final against Holger Rune and the Wimbledon final to Jannik Sinner. He won everything else. So this is the new Alcaraz. What we saw today is indoor Alcaraz, or more specifically, is the Paris Masters Alcaraz. This is his by far worst tournament. And I read a lot of posts on social media and people are comparing Carlos to Rafa, who never won this tournament, but interestingly won 14 times outdoors in Paris. And of course, Carlitos has a couple of titles on the clay in Paris as well, but has performed very poorly at this Master Series tournament. And the reasons for this are complicated to explain. I can only guess what's going on because prior to the tournament starting, Carlos was so pleased with the conditions and said that the courts are very slow, which is great for the game of tennis and also great for him. But then during the match against Norrie, he was complaining about the courts a lot and said he just can't play on them because they're too slow. Now, I read some really insane comments on the internet that Carlos Alcaraz is a fast court player and that slow courts don't suit him. Listen, Carlos Alcaraz is the best slow court player on the planet by far. Nobody comes close. What happened today to Carlos Alcaraz is possibly that he doesn't play well at this tournament. It might be weird for someone who dominates in Paris during Roland Garros to come back in the fall and play indoors. Maybe psychologically speaking, that's something that's difficult to get accustomed to. Maybe that was tough for Rafa. Maybe it's also tough for Carlos. But today, what we saw was an off day. And even new Alcaraz is expected to have an off day here and there. The interesting thing throughout this streak of finals that Alcaraz has had was that he didn't play well in every single match. He had some poor matches, especially during the clay court season, especially early in Monte Carlo. In some of those matches, he didn't play well, but he came out victorious. And the crazy thing about tennis is that even this match today, where Carlos Alcaraz possibly played the worst match of the year, I think this is comparable to his loss against Goffin in Miami, but Carlitos said in the post-match press conference that this was worse because the Miami loss was more physical. He said that this is the worst match that he's played all year. If he would have broken the Norrie serve deep in the third set, where Norrie was up a break 4-3, and Carlos had 15-40 on the Norrie serve. If he breaks here and holds, is up 5-4, he's a clutch player. He can take this match even though he played poorly. He can come back a couple days later, play well, and he can actually win this tournament. That's how crazy tennis is sometimes. But he didn't survive today. And before we get into the specifics of this match, first and foremost, Cameron Norrie, an unbelievable player, so dangerous. It must be an absolute nightmare to play against him because the contrast between the backhand and the forehand must be a nightmare. The backhand is unbelievably low, which suits these low bouncing courts, and the forehand is unbelievably spinny. He can create incredible angles. He runs everything down and has a very tricky serve. He does something that I'm a big fan of, which is change his positioning on the baseline when he's serving, especially to the ad side as a lefty. That's going to be a great tactic to utilize for anyone. And he doesn't only serve well, he's also a great returner and was absolutely demolishing the Carlos Alcaraz second serve that, possibly due to the court conditions, didn't get a lot of bite on the court, and it was just sitting right there for Norrie, and he was slamming returns and putting Carlos under a lot of pressure. Now, another thing that happened today was that Carlos's feel for the ball was off, and that's certainly something that can happen to any tennis player. You wake up one day and the feel is just not there. I saw this very early in the match. Norrie up 1-0, Alcaraz serving 30-love. He comes to the net and misses a very easy overhead. Very uncharacteristic for Carlos. And throughout this first set, even though Carlos got the break at 2-all and won the first set 6-4, he didn't play good. He was spraying balls. His feel was off. He was either overhitting the drop shot, hitting it either too high, too deep, or hitting it into the net. And the problem for old Alcaraz, the one prior to Monte Carlo this year, was that he was losing matches by overhitting, and he was basically playing low percentage tennis and blowing himself off the court. But this certainly wasn't the case today. He wasn't necessarily playing high risk tennis and taking low percentage shots. He was trying to get the ball in the court in a safe location. He was just simply missing balls that he normally would never miss. And after the match, he said that he just wasn't feeling the ball. In the second set, Norrie up 2-1. He has love 40 on the Alcaraz serve. Carlos closes in and slides into a backhand volley and just completely overhits it long. Norrie gets the break, and now Carlos Alcaraz is very angry. And an additional reason why he lost this match today, in my opinion, is not only that he had an off day, it's not only that Paris is his least favorite tournament, it's also that he displayed some very uncharacteristic negativity on the court. And there was a couple of instances, one in the second set and then early in the third, where he was complaining in the back of the court to Ferrero. And I don't understand Spanish, but I heard the word positive. So Ferrero was telling him to be positive, but Carlos was so negative, and he was in this match. I mean, he can take the third set. He won the first. This match was wide open. He could flip it on a dime and start playing well again, but he was just in a negative state of mind. And I think this gave Norrie a lot of belief to actually take this match, and he started getting his teeth into it in that second set. And he sensed this opportunity, Carlos not only playing poorly, but also being in this negative state of mind, and he took the advantage. Now, Carlos tried to win this match, of course. He didn't tank or anything like that. He was fighting for sure. He held his first 3 service games in the third set, but Norrie could have broken each one of these service games. They all went over deuce, and Norrie was holding a lot easier. And then finally at 3-all, Norrie got the break. But as I said in the beginning, Carlos Alcaraz had the chance to break back up 15-40, couldn't capitalize, and Norrie ended up serving out this match, winning it 6-4 in the third. Carlos will now try to forget this match as quickly as possible and try to get ready for the ATP finals. And I'm certain that he's going to play a lot better in that tournament. Now, the race to the year-end number 1 is going to get so interesting. First and foremost, Jannik Sinner needs to win Paris and the ATP finals to have a chance to finish the year ranked number 1. If he doesn't win both tournaments, Carlos Alcaraz will finish the year number 1. Now, if Sinner wins both Paris and the ATP finals, and if Carlos Alcaraz doesn't win at least 3 matches at the ATP finals, Jannik Sinner will finish the year number one. How exciting is the end of the 2025 season? We got so much great tennis ahead of us. Not only the Paris Masters, which will be great, hopefully, also the ATP finals, but let's not forget the WTA finals, which are coming up next. And let me tell you the groups, which are spectacular. In the Steffi Graf group, we have Sabalenka, Paulini, Goff, and Pegula. In the Serena Williams group, we have the big hitters: Anisimova, Rybakina, Keys, and Iga Swiatek. How awesome are these WTA finals? I'm certainly psyched. And like I said, a lot of great tennis ahead of us. Make sure that you subscribe to Intuitive Tennis. Like this video. If you want to support Intuitive Tennis, sign up for Intuitive Tennis Premium by clicking the link in the description. And I'll see you guys in the next video.